everybody, welcome to JLB Sports TV. I'm Justin Block, and today I'm here to defend Damien Comolli, and I'm here to defend Kenny Dalglish because after today's draw against Stoke City, it felt like many of you, especially on Twitter, wanted to throw both of them off of the ledge and run them out of town. Just everybody take a few deep breaths. Everybody is disappointed too. Everybody's fed up with all the draws. Everybody's bored with the lack of goals and the disappointing results at Anfield. But let's take a step back, get some good night's sleep, and watch this video. Now, people really want to throw Comolli off of a ledge, but you have to remember he's improved the squad. And by improved the squad, I mean Liverpool are one of the best teams in the Premier League in terms of chance creation. They're one of the worst teams in the Premier League in terms of chance conversion, but that's really a matter of circumstance and luck. His signings are the reason why Liverpool are creating all these chances. Everybody hates on Stuart Downing, Charlie Adam, and Jordan Henderson, but Charlie Adam at the end of the day has 4 assists. He leads Liverpool in assists, and Stuart Downing leads Liverpool in terms of chance creation. So those are 2 of his signings that are leading Liverpool in terms of, creating chances and getting goals. Don't give me the whole, we spent £100 million, why are we scoring no goals, this is horse shit. I even said back in August, when you spend £100 million, you expect to finish top 4. But that was looking at the season as a whole. You can't really say that game to game. And people really just have to stop talking about the money and stop blaming the money and blaming the fees when the fees that Comolli are paying are just clearly inflated. He's buying English talent because FIFA, UEFA, the FA, all these organizations are coming down and are slowly inserting more rules that limit the amount of foreign players you can have on your squad. So he's buying English talent in anticipation, and young English talent, mind you, in anticipation of those rules really coming into play within the next couple years. He's also overpaying for young players because their value will undoubtedly increase. He's paying for English talent again because that's all he can attract right now. Foreign players don't want to come to Liverpool, and Liverpool can't offer Champions League football. Honestly, Comolli is doing what he can. I'm sure if Cavani or Higuain wanted to walk through the doors and, give themselves up to LFC like players do all the time with the Man Uniteds, Barcelona and Real Madrid, then his job would be a lot easier. But frankly, it's not, because Liverpool aren't in that position that Barcelona and Real Madrid are in. Yes, he's spending too much money for the value he's getting back presently, but he's practicing a Wall Street idea called arbitrage, which is basically you sell one asset at a higher price and then you buy another asset at a cheaper price, banking on that cheaper asset eventually outgaining the more expensive asset. He's essentially spending a lot of money on players that should be cheaper, but in the long run, the value of those players will far outgain what he paid for them. That example is also relevant with the Torres sale. Torres was sold for £50 million at a high price, and he banked on Carroll, the cheaper asset, for £35 million, and I say cheaper lightly, but he was banking on Carroll, the cheaper asset that he bought, having a higher value than Torres in the long run. By doing so, he netted himself a profit of £15 million. Eventually, Andy Carroll will hopefully be worth, closer to that £50 million and even higher in the future. Now remember, Andy Carroll is only 22 years old, so please let's give him a few years and a few matches before you fans crucify him like so many Liverpool fans have been doing. He's so young, he hasn't had much experience in the side, so let's give him, a couple seasons before you crucify him as the bad player that many of you believe he strongly is. And again, please, I would love if I could just watch one Liverpool game where Andy Carroll's £35 million fee is not mentioned. Please, that £35 million fee in no way reflects the value of Andy Carroll. That fee was because it was the last day in January. It was January, so fees are going to be higher, and because Liverpool had £50 million burning in their pocket after the sale of Torres, and they needed a striker. So why not sign a young promising striker at a high rate? Because it doesn't really matter how much money you spend, because you have £50 million in your pocket. As long as you get a young promising striker, that's all Comolli and Henry and Dalglish were really caring about. So please, I don't want to hear 35. I don't really want to hear, no, I never want to hear the number 35 million ever again. And you have to remember, Damien Comolli has a co-signing from Billy Beane himself. He and Billy Beane are great friends. If you don't know who Billy Beane is, you've probably seen the movie Moneyball or read the book Moneyball. Know who he is. Look up his Wikipedia. I really don't want to have to explain him. But he's essentially, the defining figure in American sports business. He redefined how people think about Major League Baseball and how really people in all businesses go out going about their business. Comolli had a great record when he was director of football at Tottenham. He brought in players like Gareth Bale, Luka Modric, Dimitar Berbatov. I think you may have heard of a couple of them, right? So he clearly has an eye for bringing in young, attracting talent, because guys like Gareth Bale are now wanted for £40 million. Luka Modric was rated at £35 million. He's bringing in young players like them, and guaranteed in the future, the players that he brought in over the summer and that he will bring in will be, at the level of Bale and Modric eventually. But right now, he's overpaying for young players, like Jordan Henderson, because he believes that their value will eventually increase in the long run. Comolli is bringing stats, science, and hard data to a game that's honestly been in the dark ages like baseball was and has been for some time. Scouts still out and go sign players to their clubs because they're Brazilian, or they go out and sign young blonde-haired strikers because they like blonde-haired strikers. I read about this in the book Soccernomics. You should all read it. But he's bringing, science and Moneyball practices to a game that really has had none. He's finding market efficiencies, and he's finding undervalued assets, and he's going to bring them to Liverpool. Just please give him more than a year before you want to kick him off a ledge. And as for people wanting Dalglish to be sacked, you need to check yourself and check yourself that you're even a Liverpool fan. Because honestly, he has improved Liverpool's league position. He's improved the overall play as a team. They're finally playing positive football for the first time in, Lord knows when. And he has them on the cusp of a cup final. Silverware, we're about to win a trophy, something that Liverpool hasn't done in many years. Now, although Liverpool have been dreadful at set pieces, and he's made, some questionable decisions as far as substitution, those are things that are on him. But those are all the faults that I can really see with Dalglish right now. It's not his fault that Liverpool players aren't going out there and finishing. He can't, I wish he could go out and play like the Kenny Dalglish of old, but he's not the one that's putting the ball in the back of the net. Like Liverpool players should be doing. Liverpool are on the cusp of a fourth spot despite all the things that have gone wrong this year. And although I do think they need to improve greatly to get that fourth spot, I'm still optimistic they will be, and you should have faith in Dalglish. It's Kenny Dalglish, for God's sakes, people. He's done great with Liverpool so far, and he will continue to do great with them for seasons ahead. Don't sack Dalglish. Have trust and faith in Comolli, and Liverpool will be fine.